And now we are live. Oh, okay. What's up, everybody? Thank you for joining another Elsewhere podcast. I'm stoked. I just got off work and it is Friday. Thank God. And I've got Kalani on the beat down there joining me from another area in Houston, which is awesome. We're in the same town, sort of. You're
Yeah,
across town.
north side.
No, but I appreciate you joining me tonight. I mean, I've been looking forward to this. I've caught your beats. Like when I
Hmm.
go looking for them,
Hmm.
I catch them all the time. Like, when you go and you just scroll through and you find a bunch of beats and see what you want to use, and yours come up all the time.
Is it? Yeah. I'm one of them kind of people that's I'm a little more low key though with production as far
Right.
as like who I work with and stuff like that. So I
Well,
know
I
a lot
know
of
that
people they
they're out
even,
there.
huh?
I know that they're out there.
Yeah, they're out there, but but yeah, I'm a little picky with who I work with sometimes on production.
No, I don't blame you at all because, I mean, you obviously worked with some really great people in the past so far. I
Hmm.
mean, honestly, the most recent that obviously I think that all of us in this chat right now are aware of was Upchurch.
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah. And
I
I
mean,
and I have to say something. If I have to say something about that, like with Upchurch, that's probably one of my favorite situations I've been in recently. Just because whenever we're working, he just lets me do me. He's not over my back like, hey, do this, change this. Not. It's like whenever I give to him, he's like, yo, this is dope. You know what I'm saying? And that's kind of rare to find that where somebody can really vibe and mesh with the style that you bring without, changing too much of what you know how to do. You know what I'm saying?
no, exactly. I completely understand. I mean, that's kind of the thing though, is that from what I've seen, and you correct me if I'm wrong. I mean, I
Hmm.
definitely am not an expert level in any way, shape, or form. You've got a couple different types of producers, beat makers, stuff like that. Number
Yeah,
one,
yeah. Hmm.
depending on what people want to be called, whether they do beats and whether they do, you know, um, other producer, et cetera, et cetera. But there's the ones that like they pump out beats, they put them out there, they license them, and they just kind of put them on the sites where anybody can go find them.
Yeah.
And then, they're not very, I don't want to say they're not particular about who they work with because at the end they have a say,
Yeah.
but there's a lot more exposure to
Hmm.
me. If I decided all of a sudden I want to sing, I can go find one, right? And I could use it
Yeah.
versus, bringing something else to the table,
Yeah.
that, you agree with and that you resonate with and that you want to work with.
Hmm.
Do you build them as you go?
Yeah, I actually do. Like all these beats that you've been hearing recently with Ryan, I've been building specifically for Ryan.
Okay.
Like these aren't back catalog beats that I've been sitting on for years. They're like, nah, I'm actually building these out. And I typically do that with the majority of the artists that I'm working with, as far as like the ones that I'm producing and not just engineering. When I'm producing a project, I like to build a sound for the artist. So typically, what I give Ryan is not going to be the same type of production that I'm gonna give to somebody else, just because I'm more so trying to fit a sound to that voice and you know find out what works for that artist.
No, I completely understand because I mean that's the thing. I was really curious because I know you worked with other artists. I mean that's one that I knew that a lot of people would be familiar with.
Hmm.
But on the flip side, you worked with a lot of different people. Do you just like have your business card out there and you're like, hey, so you want to work with me? Let me know. Or do you go to convent? I mean, how do people find you?
Well, I'm I don't go anywhere. I don't even step outside the studio because I'm always so busy. But I've been doing it so long. I've been doing it for about 20 plus years. So when I first started off, I did a lot of networking. That's when I was younger. I was in the clubs a lot. I was running around with a lot of DJs. So I built a reputation, of just working in the field, and also built up a reputation of when you go to Kalani, your work is going to get done. You know what I'm saying? So those were two things that kind of helped me along the way to where I didn't really have to put myself out there as much
Right.
because I let my work speak for itself.
No, that makes
Yeah.
sense. That makes complete sense. They're saying that you have feedback like static on your side.
Oh, I do.
Yeah, they're
Let me
saying you have a little bit. It's not all the time if I'm not mistaken.
let me see. I might have to turn my mic down to maybe a little loud.
By the way, Creeker Mariah, I really appreciate you coming in here. I've seen you around quite often. I know you. And she obviously has a lot of information about you, which I appreciate you putting in the chat. Anybody that knows anything or has any questions, feel free to put them in
What's
the
up?
chat.
What's up, Cricket Mariah? Let me see. I'm trying to see if I can turn this down because I see it as kind of loud. I gotta excuse me. This is my first time really messing with this. Does that seem to be a little better? I can still kind of. I think I still hear a little bit of buzzing.
Yeah, it's every once in a while. It's not all the time.
Okay. I don't know if
So
it's my connection possible.
it could be your connection, honestly.
It could be. Hopefully that's better. I turned the mic down a little bit.
They're saying this when you get close to the mic. You have to like shout from across the room, like go run over there and yell really loud.
Let me back up. Is that better? It might be a little better.
It might be. I don't know. We'll just wing it. That's how we do things
Yeah,
around here.
yeah. Okay, cool. Y'all let me know if it's getting any better. Because I
No,
can't
it seems
hear
a
what
little
y'all
bit
hear.
better.
Okay, cool.
What I'll do is I'll turn you up a little bit. There we go. Yeah, we're just that's the thing is that I talk to a lot of artists and I talk to a lot of producers and I talk to a lot of all types of content creators, reactors, you name it, right? People that sing, people that rap, people that, they make beats. I'm working with somebody we're working on a community EP where people that we know are making the beats and then people that we know are the artists that are going to be on the EP. So it's all going to be community based. Just throughout a few communities on YouTube. So I learn as I go. Like I don't know how to articulate anything that I'm trying to say. I think the closest I am to articulating anything is saying, "Holy, that was a dirty beat drop." Like that was just nasty. Like that kind of stuff I get. And the ones that make your face just kind of go like, "Ooh, like dang." But what I've noticed is that the ones that you work on tend to be more what I see. I can't articulate the word. It's not just the beat. It's not just, the bass. It's actually, you've got some kind of something in there. You've got substance in there. You've got some kind of a sample in there. Like you tend to be able to take a sample and flip it and turn it into something that you wouldn't expect.
Yeah. I've been, and that's probably because of the producers that I grew up listening to, like Just Blaze, Jay Dilla, Dr. Dre. He sampled a lot too. A lot of people don't even realize it. Kanye West. So a lot of the people that I grew up listening to, that's what I noticed about their music. It was always an element in their music that made their music sound great versus just like okay. And I always aim for like how are they making their stuff sound great? Because I want to sound like that. And that was something I always tried to emulate.
No, I don't blame you at all. I mean, if you're not striving to be the best or to be great or to be amazing, then like you're just kind of settling for mediocre.
Yeah, and I think
You're kind of
as humans,
plateauing yourself.
Yeah, we need to see. To me, I want to see like where my greatest potential is going to fall. Like how far can I push myself? And I think you're doing a disservice to yourself if you don't see how far you can go with what you're doing. You know what I'm saying?
No, absolutely. Like personally, that was the whole thing here is, it doesn't matter how small my community is because it grows and it goes, highs and lows. And there's a lot of people one day and there's 5 people the other. It doesn't matter because
Yeah.
I enjoy what I'm doing and I love the people that come around and I love the people I speak with. And to be completely honest, I love it so much. I just want to see what I can do with it and how far I can take it. And one of my favorite things is to just talk to just different people and see what they do and what motivates them and, what got them started. And the whole 9 yards. Wildflower, I do hear the static, but it's not happening as much as it was. So it's a way better. Todd says, right, like the sample track and nothing but a G thing. It's doing it while you're not talking. I don't hear it now. I'm not hearing any static right now from you.
Okay.
I hear your background like as if like your room ambience, but I don't hear any static.
That might be better. It was a fan going. I didn't even realize it was going.
Yeah, I have my fan going too. Because in all
I-
honesty, it gets hot in here.
Yeah, it gets hot.
I
Well,
shut the door and I'm like,
that last storm that we had here blew
Mhm.
out half the power in our building. So we've been having
Oh.
electricians in and out. So thank God it hasn't been hot outside, and we like half the AC in our building is running, the other half where I'm at's not. So it's a little warm where I'm at.
I gotcha.
Yeah, but it's cool. It's not that bad.
Echo is bad on both sides.
Really?
I don't know why. I don't have anything coming through.
Let me mute mine.
Shut the fans
Am
off.
I echoing on this side?
I
by
don't
any
hear any
chance?
echo. I don't hear any echo.
Okay.
They do that to me though, and they freak me out, and I think I have to like restart the whole thing. They always do that to me. They're like, "Your
Oh.
sound's crazy." I'm like, "No!" I panic. I literally panic. Do Kalani and Ryan work together physically in the studio or remote when creating?
Both, both. When we first started off, the first few songs that was us in the studio. Recently, since he's been back home, we've been working remotely. I just been sending them tracks.
That's perfect. So he kind of gives you creative license to do.
Yeah, so it's like, like literally, like he hasn't told me like, hey, I want this, I want that. Like I'll just send him a pack and he's, laying them down.
He's like, "Bet, okay, let's go with this."
Yeah, yeah. So he's like one of the easier artists that I've worked with. That that's on that kind of level. You know what I'm saying? Because typically, when I'm working with artists that are bigger, it's things sometimes can be a little more difficult. And I wouldn't say difficult, but they don't listen to you as much as an engineer. You know what I'm saying? It's like,
Mm-hmm.
and that wasn't the case with Ryan. It was just like we was just in the studio working. It wasn't no biases. It wasn't like, hey, I'm the bigger artist, listen to me. It was just like, what do we need to do to get this record to sound the dopest we can make it sound right now? And that's what the narrative was when we were in the studio. It wasn't anything else but that. And of course us chilling and having fun.
Well, if I'm not mistaken, he was determined to find somebody to work with, so that he wanted the Houston sound. He wanted something different. He wanted to bring something different to his music. So it would make sense that he would go. It would go with what
Yeah.
something that
Yeah.
you would bring, because he would respect that what you're doing is what he's looking for, right?
Yeah, yeah.
I mean,
And we always, especially producers, we always appreciate it when artists are willing to, take a chance. Like, let's try something different.
no, I completely understand. So just out of curiosity, on that same strain, if you were to describe like the Houston sound, if you were to give it a couple of, when you think of Houston sound, this is what you're gonna hear. What would you describe it as?
Um, it's kind of hard to say now. Because the I think the reason why I'm saying that is because the mainstream market has infiltrated the indie market so much down here in Houston that sound, like the native sound, to me kind of got washed out a whole lot.
Right.
The sound that I grew up on, like with Fat Pat and Pokey, and even when I got older, like Paul Wall, Slim, people like that. It's slowly coming back with that native Houston sound, like the slower beats, um, the beats that typically came out of Houston were bass heavy, really musical on the soulful side, uh, guitar heavy, stuff like that. That stuff is like, I don't know if there's so much coming back, because to me it kind of got washed out a little bit. But whenever Houston producers do take that sound and move to, like, I won't say move, but give it to somebody else outside of the city, it's like everybody goes crazy. But in the city,
Right.
and I think I know, and I think that's the same case for the native sound in other cities too. It's native to the city, and people don't get it as excited of it, about it because they hear it all the time.
Right. No, of course, I totally get that. I mean, honesty, I know that it does get washed out quite a bit, but it's like one of those things where, I mean, they're saying it in the chat here. They're naming off some people. Creeker Mariah's talking about T2. I know who that is. I talked to him as well. He actually was telling us where to go in Houston when Truth came out to visit in December, where he was trying to shoot a music video. So, but I mean, it's just really cool because someone's saying, "Look, I'm in Tennessee. I'm in, Washington. I'm in wherever. Okay, I'm in
Hmm.
Florida. I want a different sound." And there's a lot of good music that comes from Houston, so I'm going to come here and I'm going to, try and pull something different. Because everywhere you go, if you go to Philadelphia, you're going to have a whole different sound. It's going to, sure, there are elements that sound the same, but of course there is, right?
Yeah.
But it's just, I don't know, it's just the way that it comes together. It's that people getting together in a small venue or a small, like, get together that are live doing their stuff. Like that kind of stuff is where I usually would hear it at. Like when
Yeah.
I used to live in Kansas City, we would go downtown and
Hmm.
we would go to some of the, they would even do it outdoors. We would go to some of the festivals and you would get people that were, live mixing and stuff like that. And that's where you would hear what I would consider the sound of the city
You're
versus what you heard on the radio.
you're 100% right. The sound of the city's always been carried on with the DJs and the streets. The radio's never really missed the sound of the city too much. Because if you turn on the radio right now, you're not going to hear the newer generation Houston artists that's coming out. You'll hear like the same songs that we've been hearing for the past 10 years. And I'm pretty sure you can attest to that. We're in the same city, so.
No,
So
exactly.
radio, yeah, radio has been the best reflection of like the music because I think Houston really has some amazing artists and amazing producers that come out of the city or are in the city, but because of the way radio is right now, you really don't get to see that too much.
And see, and what they were saying in the chat also, I don't listen to the radio at all. I did when I first moved to Houston. I've
Yeah,
been in and
Rob,
out of Houston
I'm
for a
yeah.
while. I don't listen to mainstream radio, and I even don't listen to satellite radio.
Hmm.
Um, I pretty much, I think I filled my cup. My cup runneth over from all the people that I've either interviewed or I mess with or I listen to or support personally.
Hmm.
Most of them are independent, in some way, shape, or form, or as close to independent as you can get. None of them are going to be signed to the big labels, period.
Yeah. Hmm.
And
I
so
don't
I'm
get
not hip, but when I tune in, I'm like, wasn't this the same song that came out like 4 years ago?
it.
Like,
And it
it's the
probably
same
was.
thing.
Hmm.
It's the same artist. It's the same thing. It's the same sound. It's one person who's singing breathy out the entire time. They're breathing out as they sing in their female. It's her, or it's a, another version of her that sounds the same exact way.
Hmm.
The same, just the same thing. Or if I go into like the hip hop stations,
Hmm.
I get nailed with the auto tune, like
Yeah.
real deep auto tune, as well as lyrics I don't want my 9-year-old hearing.
Yeah, I think program radio got so far away from what people really wanted because it turned into a business where you had to pay. It's pay for play, and when you're in pay for play, you kind of take away from how genuine a business is and how genuine you are with the people that you're trying to reach, right? So years and years of how the radio stations and this is all over the country of how radio
Right.
stations are ran. You had to come out of a lot of money to pay to have your single ran, and it didn't matter how it sound or the content of it or what it was, as long as you had the money. So whoever the highest bidder is, really, what I'm saying, could get whatever they wanted on the radio. But the person who actually had the gift, what I'm saying, to do something, they're not looking for that. So
Right.
I think that sometimes with the radio is, that's why we're ending up with the stuff that we're ending up on with the radio. It's not really appealing. Everything sounds the same. You may have 5 artists back to back, but it's all the same song.
No, and that's what it sounds like to me. And I guess maybe it's my taste. Creeker Mariah, I see your question. I'm gonna ask him in a second because I want to know that answer too. Um, what bothers me the most, I think, is that I don't understand why people aren't like falling asleep listening to it. Of course, we are in the era of 15 seconds, right?
Yeah.
If it doesn't catch you in 15 seconds, you're swiping by it and moving on. So you
Hmm.
got to like, it's got to sound like something you recognize in order to listen long enough to catch something that you've never heard. So
Yeah.
I don't like it, but I understand it. I just
Hmm.
feel like, how are people not bored stiff? That's why there's 8 million radio stations on like the satellite radios because people are like boring, next, boring, next.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like I just go back to the 90s and listen to all that and then I'm good.
Yeah. And like, I've been finding myself recently going back to listening to older music just because everybody's trying to sound like everybody. And there's no and it is originality, but when it comes to the commercial side of the industry, is no originality. And that's hard to come by right now. And back in the day, it wasn't like that. It seems like the roles kind of reversed. Like the majors are the ones that are sounding amazing right now. It's the indie side that's sounding amazing right now. So yeah, and
No,
I don't.
absolutely.
Yeah, that's crazy to me because I've been in the industry long enough to see it happen.
Have you been to Tennessee yet?
Yeah, a couple times. Actually, I went to Tennessee a few years ago. It's been about over 10 years, I think. I was in a beat battle out there a couple times in Tennessee with Coco. What was the name of her beat battle? Was it the Rock Beat Battle? I think that was the name of it, the Rock Beat Battle. But it was, yeah, that was pretty fun. We went out there a couple of times. We won. That's when I was in the production team. And we won a couple times out there. We got to battle against a couple of the producers out there.
No, that's pretty cool. I mean,
Yeah, I think Bandplay. Yeah, Bandplay was in it too. Yeah, it was Bandplay and a couple other people.
a beat battle sounds dope. Yeah, I mean, we know somebody like, we've got people like Rachel Geek who they do live looping and stuff like that.
Hmm.
They'll go live and they'll do it like right on the fly, or they'll do
Hmm.
songs and stuff like that. Um, seeing how do I put this? Seeing them like I've seen her in competitions, like on stage, where she
Hmm.
sets up her equipment, and then she does
Yeah.
her thing, and then
Hmm.
other people set up their equipment. But I've seen it in beatboxing. So I've seen like loop battles, I've seen beatbox battles, but I've never seen a head to head beat battle.
Yeah. It is
Is it
really
one you do like at the time, or did you have it pre prepared?
not yet pre-prepared. You just literally you're like playing beat for beat, trying to
Okay.
match styles and stuff like that. So if I'm playing the trap beat, you're gonna have to find something in your catalog to beat this trap beat.
Okay.
So
Okay. Because it
yeah,
wouldn't make sense to like do opera right after a trap beat. Well, I mean, unless you had like a badass opera trap
I
beat. I
know
mean,
if you flipped
it
it
can
and
happen.
it's dope, yeah, anything. I'm over here flipping country samples, so
No, I know. I think that's awesome. I would be in heaven. Yeah, I would be in heaven. And by
but
the way,
yeah,
shout out to everybody in the chat. I really appreciate you guys coming through. I mean,
yeah,
if you
same
don't
here.
mind, drop a like and make sure you follow this guy. I think I put his deets in the description. I know that Jess has been posting it in the chat when she gets a chance. If not, I mean, it's literally Kalani on the beat pretty much everywhere
Yeah.
on Instagram and on YouTube for sure. I know that. And make sure that you check him out if you haven't before, if you're new to hearing what he's done. Definitely give him a follow if you like what you hear, and make sure that you show some love and support because he's doing some really cool things, and it's really actually kind of fun to watch to see what's coming out. And I keep seeing you getting tagged everywhere, which I think is great.
Yeah, that's pretty
Honestly,
cool. I'm getting used to that because I'm always the one running from the camera. Every time somebody's bringing the camera in the studio, I'm like, hey, what you doing with the camera? Like but I'm getting used to it now, and I think it's pretty cool with the support that you guys have with Creek Squad. Like I've never been a part of something like that, and like y'all are some real genuine people.
yeah. I mean, it's Creek Squad's huge, like it really is, and not just that. They're well, you already said it. They're genuine and they look out for each other and they ride or die for each other, man. They don't play around.
Oh yeah,
Like you come at one, come at all type situation. Like don't even play. And
Yeah,
so
I
it's
seen that.
nice to have the support. It's kind of like a support system where you just know. It's one of those things where you just know.
Hmm.
You say Creek Squad, and they're like, "Yeah, what's up?" And you're like, "Ha!"
Yeah.
Like you resonate on that level.
Uh-huh.
Rob Mead wants to know. He says, "Ask him how he felt when he first had his brush of fame or being known."
Um, how I felt? Well, I felt pretty good. Like I can remember like whenever it was a big deal to have your song on the radio, because now it's not a big deal anymore.
Right.
But a few years ago, when I first started, it was a pretty big deal to get your song on the radio, because it was pretty hard to get your song on the radio, especially with no budget, no money, no nothing. And I had did a song a while ago down here in Houston when I was younger, called "That's My Little Dip," with this group called MPS at the time, and the song made it on. I forgot how it made it to radio, but after it made it to radio, it made it in the local chart here, so it stayed on radio for a little bit. And
That's
yeah,
awesome.
that was my first little taste of fame then, because whenever that happened, my phone was blowing up because my tag was on the song, so everybody heard it. So yeah, that was the feeling. It was pretty cool. It was pretty cool. I was hyped. I was in the car. I was in my little Honda Prelude, 6 speed. Well, it wasn't 6 speed, but yeah. I remember when I heard it on the radio, like I had just mashed it. I was going like 90 on the freeway because I was excited.
No, that's awesome. Because I mean, I can't. I just can't. Because and it was different. 10, 15, 20 years ago, it was a totally different deal, right?
Yeah.
Because it's not the same. Right now, you can. You mean two like you get tagged all the time. People get tagged all the time because you're like, "Hey, how are you?" Tag you.
Yeah.
Hey, I want you to see my story. Tag you. Like it doesn't
Mhm.
necessarily have to do anything with you. People
Mhm.
tag. I know this is my favorite. When people post something and they just want everyone to see it, so they tag like 100 people,
Yeah.
and I'm in there, and
I
I'm
started
like, wait a
seeing
minute,
I
and I'm
started
just
seeing that
like,
a lot. Yeah.
and then every time somebody comments, it notifies me, and it's
Mhm.
like one of those things where I'm like, oh wait, it has nothing to do with me. They're not talking to me. It's not about me. But before, something like that happens, people actually would call you, right? They're gonna hit
Yeah.
you up because I can tell from your social media that you're not out there like, look at me, look at me, look at me. Like you're
Nah.
not that
Yeah.
person
Mhm.
because your
Yeah, I'm the
social media and
opposite.
your YouTube's pretty quiet when it comes to that type of content.
Mhm.
Like I can tell that you're in the studio, like,
Yeah, I'm always working, and I'm trying to break away from that to start building on stuff like my YouTube channel and start posting more. Um,
right,
yeah, but I've always been that kind of person. Like in half of it, well, I'll say more than half of it. Half of the reason why it's hard for me to post is because I'm always so busy. Like I'm always on projects, I'm always in sessions, or I'm on a video shoot doing something. So I'm
right.
always like I wouldn't say spread thin, but pretty busy doing something.
Well, that's a good thing. I mean, you're working. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, I work a full time job and I do the podcast and I try not to overdo it because and then I help people out on the side. I help content creators. I have my
Yeah.
community. I've got, artists and people that I'm talking to that I'm following up with that I just are saying, "Hey, how's it going?" or whatever. But I still find the time to like troll social
Yeah.
media a little bit. Like
Hmm.
I actually take a specific amount of time every single day to go down and like look for new people that I've never seen before or respond to comments or show support or show some love on somebody that, I do follow or that I have spoken, especially my previous guests. I try really hard. Failed
Yeah.
miserably, but I try. Um so I specifically take targeted time for that. But I also am doing work at home stuff. So I'm not out there and I'm definitely not in a creative position. My job is not creative at all. My job is
Hmm.
like, boring. Um so like I can basically, you know, pick it up and, work and answer or respond to people or something right away or post something at any
Hmm.
time. I don't have
Hmm.
to wait until I'm offset. I don't have to wait till I'm out of the studio. I'm not in the
Yeah.
zone. Like there is no zone. It's literally
Yeah.
so I mean I completely respect that in honesty. You're working and you're working hard and you're obviously succeeding because everything that I've heard from you is fire. It's
I
good.
appreciate that. I appreciate that.
And I think that pretty much everybody in here that's ever heard something that you have done was going to agree with me.
No, yeah, I've been seeing the comments in the chat. I appreciate everybody. Like for real, for real. Stay away from
Did
the
you ever
dirty
sleep
holes.
since you should? Because I do know that you were on Creek of Mariah's. I was aware of that.
Yeah, yeah. But do I ever sleep? Barely.
Do you like lose track of like your hours and time?
Sometimes. Yeah, sometimes I do.
Like where you
We've
come
been
out
in-
of the studio, it's like 4 a.m. and you're like, well, shit, okay.
Yeah. Well, it's been a few times where we were. It's just one. What's a few artists, but one particular artist, Raheem Devine. I don't know if you ever heard of him. He's an R&B singer. When he comes to the studio, we've had several sessions where we would come in the evening and leave when the sun is coming up. So like I wouldn't even realize that. I walk outside and be like, the sun is up. We started, it was nighttime. Like so yeah, it is like when everybody's kind of zoned out and focused, and like we can be in the studio for 5 hours and we'll look up and be like we just thought it was like an hour and a half, 2 hours that passed by, just because we're all zoned into what we were doing.
That's good though, right? That's like when you get in your sweet spot creatively.
Yeah.
That's what I would assume that's what you'd want, because that means that you're tuned into what you're doing completely, which means that something's going in a positive direction. Because
Yeah.
when something's going wrong, you know what time it is.
Mm-hmm.
Completely.
Yeah. And you can feel it,
It's
and
been
it gets
3.5 minutes since the last time I screwed that part up. Okay.
I can hear a little bit of the static now, but stop.
Can you hear your own?
I don't hear it on my side. I think I hear it when you talk.
That's crazy because I only hear it when you talk.
It might be the connection though. I think it might be
It
the
could be.
connection. Yeah.
I'm like, here, let me mess with my settings a little bit, just in case.
Okay.
Basically, what that means is I'm just moving dials around because I have no idea what any of this stuff means.
But
I have my little mini
the static doesn't
soundboard
sound
and I'm
bad though.
clueless.
It doesn't sound bad. It doesn't sound like it's not distracting.
Okay, good. This has turned into an ASMR podcast where we just listen to noise. I'm reading through the comments right now. Context is everything. Correct. Champagne Rain. Nice to see you, sis. If it's a podcast listener. No, that's fine. I do cut these up and stick the audio. Okay. I'm supposed to stick them on all of the podcast sites, but I'm a slacker and I'm like 4-7 behind. So there might be a whole bunch coming out really soon. But, y'all literally are here, so I'm not talking to you guys. I'm talking to the people listening later, if I ever put them up. Oh, must just got another one guest subs up from Cat ASMR is back. No, Cat ASMR is not back. I'm not doing that again. I don't even know how that happened.
She was
back in
doing
the day.
ASMR.
Well, I mean, it's funny because it was only voice for a long time. I wouldn't get on camera.
Uh-huh.
And so I would get real close and I would talk, and it was this mic, my Yeti.
Uh-huh.
And for some reason, when I got really close, it was like they were like, "Ooh, you're doing ASMR." I'm like, and it was a whole thing, and they kept trying to get me to do it, and I couldn't stop laughing long enough to do it. So it's like, yeah,
Inside
don't do
joke.
that.
That's funny.
I talk real low. I mean, I have the thing where it makes me talk like a baby. It talks like a robot. I can talk like all kinds of stuff, but I'm not trying to talk like a dirty phone worker. I mean, that would make an interesting one. But
I need to figure out what I got to do on my YouTube channel myself. I don't know what I want to do myself, because I mean I can do beats live. But I don't know if I want to just do that.
Well, they always say, right? If you're going to expand your channel into any type of content aside from what you're doing now. So, for example, if at some point in time, at any point in time, you're going to be posting like videos, like music video type content
Yeah.
for your songs, okay? You're not going to want to mix that with live streams. Like if you're going to be start going live and stuff, that's when people
Mm-hmm.
make like a second channel for something like that, because it's gonna nail you into the algorithm for live streams, even when you post music videos or vice versa.
That makes sense. I'm glad
So,
you told.
and
I'm glad you told me that before I started digging heavy into content.
because there's a lot of people that I know personally, I know a lot of people in the chat can attest to this. There's quite a bunch of people who are content creators. Like let's say they do reaction channels, and then
Mm-hmm.
they also do gaming. Well, then they start just seeing this plateau, and they can't, or they do live streams as well, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they just can't figure out what the problem is. Like, why am I getting nowhere? Why is it not recommending? Well, because it's recommending them under, like, they started to do live gaming on the same channel as their reactions, and they knocked themselves into gaming. So then the reactions are doing crappy on the gaming algorithm. Well,
I get
duh,
it.
of course it is. Yeah. And same
Yeah.
vice versa. So there's a lot of people that are now learning the hard way after the fact that this is a problem.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense because I know YouTube they'll categorize your channel under like gaming or DIY type stuff whenever you're searching. So yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, I don't even know what they've categorized mine as. I literally have no idea. I couldn't tell you. Like that's along the lines of like what my numbers are. I don't check them. I don't check my
Mm,
numbers. I don't check the views. I do sometimes kind of look at likes and stuff because I'm picky and I want it to all be 100% liked. But
yeah,
aside from that,
I just started checking mine because I went from like 30 subs to 1,000 or something in a short amount of time. So yeah, I'm slowly getting into that.
yeah. And I mean, the thing is, if you get stuck on numbers, it's just going to drive you crazy. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like, it just is. Because numbers skyrocket when you're providing something that people can like, a kind of like a give and a take. Like I give you
Hmm.
this, you give me that, and your subs will fly up. And like for me personally, I do a podcast. I don't have, you can't request reactions. You can't pretty much get me to do anything. So
Hmm.
I'm not as fun, I guess. They're saying I'm reading this chat. I'm reading the chat right now. Hold on. I, I don't know how to scroll my own chat. That's pretty sad.
Yeah, I see
Um,
JC. Yeah, I actually can record. I actually have it set up to where I can run the whole session live on YouTube while I'm actually working in the process, and y'all can see my screen. I've been getting a few things set up so I can have a few options with streaming live content, and I wanted to. One of the ideas I had was really showing the behind the scenes of how the process of how we're creating these songs.
no, that would be cool
So
to have behind the scenes.
yeah, so we might be doing that.
It's like, look behind you.
Yeah.
People love to do that when you're live. Look behind you.
Yeah.
Well, now, I mean, I got
Beetle,
Beetlejuice on my wall.
Beetlejuice.
Yeah, I finally got him up on the wall. That was a gift from Just Jen Reacts. She sent that to me,
That's pretty cool.
so I had to get it up on my wall. Under, I'm redoing all my walls. These are all behind me. These are all autographed. These ones over here are not. I just got my As the Structure Fails. They gave me a poster. There were all the members autographed for me. So I have
That's
to get
pretty
that
cool.
framed and I got to put that up there. So I might have to shrink my flag a little bit because it's like taking up all of that room.
Uh-huh.
But I mean, it'll be good. I had a question I was going to ask you earlier and I forgot to ask.
Uh-huh.
Um, if somebody was to ask what your style is,
Mhm.
how would you describe your personal style? Like if you're like the kind of beats that I make, they tend to be
That's a good one. My style. My style to me is smooth, gritty at the same time, aggressive at the same time. It's kind of hard to explain, like, because some of my beats to me, they can be laid back and aggressive sometimes. Long Rider. That's one of the records I would consider like that. Like, even though that record sounds smooth, still has like an aggressive feel to it. Um, so a lot of my the reason I'm saying that is because I work with, and if you could hear all the stuff that I work on, like I work on stuff from gospel all the way down to, to pop, R&B,
right.
and everything in between. And everything that I work on, it does sound different, but the thing that does tie all of my production together is how I do my drums. And that's one of the things that I can say, like, it's a signature with how I do my sound. Like, my drums are always gonna hit. That bass is always gonna hit you in the face. Them snares are always gonna smack you in the face. You know, that's
Right.
yeah, that's something I'm sorry of somebody coming in my room. But yeah, yeah, that's how I would describe my sound. You know,
No, absolutely. Because the thing is that I might not be able to differentiate myself like off the top, but I know a lot of I know a lot of producers and people that are avid music listeners and beat listeners. Like they listen to that part, not just the song as a whole. They
hmm
can differentiate between those type of pieces of it, especially anyone that has any experience with mixing and they're capable of using the software and the program and all that stuff, and so they get it more. Me, I haven't gone there. Like, there's a lot of things I've had to do. I do my own images now. I make my own little videos that are, slowly getting better. Um,
you're pretty good though. The stuff that I saw on your channel is pretty good.
I appreciate it. You know what's really funny is the two
hmm
reels I did for you are
I thought
the
those were
first two.
pretty dope. Yeah,
Those are the first two I've ever done. I was like, I'm gonna figure out how to do this. Where
might
I
make you
pulled the
some bread
sound
once
off,
that. Yeah.
and I'm
Uh
like,
huh.
you know what? I can't find the sound on Instagram. I'm gonna get it. Cool, cool. Zoop. I pulled that sound right up. I was like, oh, well, that was a lot easier than I thought.
Yeah.
Because I wanted something that represented who you were, and like so people could hear kind of what you're about. I try to do that for artists, like make sure that I put some kind of music that is theirs or give somebody kind of an idea of who they are.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty cool. And you'd be surprised at how many artists need that kind of service and pay you for that. So
Yeah,
yeah, I think that was pretty cool. Rob,
yeah.
that
I
beats
think
out.
he does have
out.
people in the studio right now. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, because we have a radio station up here in the front. And we got a video room, a green room. So yeah, we have people in here right now. I think the
Is he
radio
busy?
station. Yeah, they just got done with a show, and yeah, people are like moving around right now.
How dare they? Tell me. I'm just kidding. Well, no, I mean that's what it's like because I mean there's two different types of studios. There's the solo studios, and then there's the ones that are, where people do come in and out. And
Yeah,
that's just
yeah,
the way
yeah,
it is.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And how we have it here, like me and two of my friends, we all, because I've been running the studio for a long time, but I wanted to expand, and they wanted to expand at the same time. So we all just got together and we're like, hey, let's go get this building. So that's basically our situation. Like one of my friends, he has the green room, and one of our other friends, she has the radio station. So we all run our businesses inside the same building, and whenever we put our businesses and minds together, we try to do bigger things. But yeah, that's what we
No,
got
that's
going on up
awesome.
here.
No, that's really awesome because, and one of the things, I'm not going to lie, one of the things I was so stoked about when I first reached out to you months ago,
hmm
and there it is. There's that comment. You see it?
Yeah, I'm in
He's
Houston.
he's
Yeah, yeah, I'm in
he's in
Houston.
Houston, and so am I. And
And I need
I
to
thought it
know.
was so cool because I'm like, hi, I'm in Houston too.
Right down the street. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, right now I was in Sugarland, and now I'm like in Rosenberg, but whatever.
Yeah.
But I mean, I feel like an idiot because I'm not downtown Houston very often. I went to that concert on last Sunday. Was
Uh-huh.
awesome
Oh, that's what
at
I was about to ask you.
the 713 venue, whatever it's called, Music
hmm
Live, 713 Music Live, and I was like standing outside, and there was somebody at the street corner doing playing music while all this whole crowd was going by, right, leaving the concert, just doing music. There was guys that were like driving little carriage, like riding little bicycles with carriages and like carting people around. There were crazy looking cars. It was right by the aquarium. Like I was just standing there, people watching for a good 45 minutes. It was the coolest thing ever. And I never get to go anywhere in Houston because I don't know anybody in Houston.
Yeah.
And so I thought it would be so cool to try and figure out when people are doing stuff and doing events and things like that, and like start paying attention to stuff local, not just international. Because I talk to people all over the world,
hmm
but I would really, really love to talk to people in Houston because I don't plan on leaving.
Yeah.
You
Yeah, and
know,
there's a lot of people. I can plug you in with everybody up here. It's a lot of people up here.
I just think it's awesome to talk to people that are like in a locality that I am, because usually like,
hmm
well, yeah, I'm in Montana. I'm like, okay, you know, but to say, to be able to physically go and check out a performance or check out anything, right?
Mm-hmm.
That puts you on a whole different level. I mean, local, and I say this all the time, local is a big thing for me
Mm-hmm.
because I think that everybody is so concerned about everybody else's business everywhere. They think that everyone's business is theirs.
Yeah.
And we've forgotten to slow it down and bring it like closer to our communities.
Mm-hmm.
And so we're all worried about like, world problems instead of even worrying about our local area.
Yeah.
Um,
That
that
happens
kind
a
of
lot.
thing. So I think that people are worried about like, I'm not going to say it's a bad thing. Like some international artists are amazing, but nobody, like I'm not saying nobody. People need to really support their local artists. They need to
Mm-hmm.
go and check out the live performances. They need to go to the festivals. They need to go,
Mm-hmm.
just the local flavor and just see what's out there. And that's what I plan on doing. 2023 is for me. I'm traveling more. I'm going to be doing a lot of stuff like that. So that's why I was so excited because I'm like, you're in Houston,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah. Yeah. And I'm the same way too. I probably need to start getting out more and getting to these venues because I'm always in the studio working. I don't get to see. I really get to see my work outside of the studio.
Yeah, I'm a hermit, and I'm like I've made myself a hermit. I don't go anywhere. Like they give my community will joke with me. They're like, "Wait, you're out of the house? You went to Walmart? What?" Like they're shocked, and I'm like, "Well, yeah."
They're like that when they see me out the studio. They're like, "You look weird outside the studio. You don't look like you belong here."
What's up, Mad P? Thanks for swinging by. No, like you come out of the studio and you've got like mole eyes,
Yeah.
and you don't see it because you didn't see the change, but you come out and they're like,
Yeah, like
"Whoa."
I'm squinting because I've been in the dark all day. Yeah, hilarious.
Your glasses suddenly are like this thick, and you're like, "Wait, what happened?" I can see in the dark. I have radar location. I don't need, I don't need my eyes anymore. No, that's kind of how I am. I'm always, always, always like I'm literally here. My work computer. This is my streaming stuff here.
Hmm.
My work computer's right here. Like I'm touching it right now. So I don't go far,
That
and I
that was me.
spend
That
8+
uh,
hours a day. And of course, you work in your studio, so
yeah, yeah. Yeah. It's almost the same. Well, I wouldn't say the same. Well, yeah. I'm sitting in front of the computer all day.
I go outside and I sit in my car because I can't smoke inside. So I go sit in my car because I'm old and it's hot, and so I sit in my car, turn the air on. I go to the gas station and I come home. The kids get dropped off the bus right at the end of the street. I'm like, okay, I literally have to go nowhere.
I mean, but
It's
for somebody like me, like I'm a homebody. If I'm not in the
yeah,
studio,
I
I'm
am
at
too.
home. Yeah, so the less I have to leave the house, the happier I am.
I know I'm literally the same way, but I've decided that I can't change if I don't change. I
Yeah,
can't
yeah.
grow if I don't make effort to grow. And I'm not going to
Mm-hmm.
do anything or make anything of myself and what I'm trying to do unless I'm out there doing what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
I
facts.
can
Yeah,
sit here all day and I can have conversations, and that's great, and I love every moment of it. But there's just
hmm
it hits different when you're right there.
yeah, it does.
It hits different when you're looking at someone in the face. When you're sitting down with somebody, even if it's just not even like on camera, but you're just meeting them as a person to person, you
Hmm.
know? There's a different vibe. It hits different, the not your aura, but whatever. The vibe you give off.
Yeah.
And I need to do that. And I've decided this is my year. I turned 40 this year. So okay, it's now or never, all right?
Congratulations. I got I got one more year. One more year and I'm gonna be in the 40 club with you.
Yeah, I'm like, oh man, really? I don't
Yeah.
feel 40, but I mean, my knees are 40, but I'm not.
You don't look for it.
Rob says, "What made you want to pursue music as a career? What was that big defining moment that you knew you had no plan B and decided to chase your dreams?"
Um, well, I've already been in music since a kid. Because my dad, he was a musician. He's still a musician now. Um, but the big deciding factor for me was when I had to literally decide between playing basketball, um, in college and going to college in Austin or doing music. And it didn't hit me like until I got in the recruiter's office and they were handing me all the paperwork, and I was like, do I really want to do this? Like, because I had hoop dreams back in the day. You know, that's all I did was hoop. But music has always been something that stuck with me since I was a kid. So it was like at that moment where I was like, I turned down signing over, or I turned down going to school in Austin and playing basketball out there to come back down here to do music. So that was that moment for me where I was like, because I've always been that kind of person. Like, it's hard for me to do something I don't want to do. And once I have my mind made up on something that I don't want to do anymore, I'm not going to do it anymore. And that's what happened. Was like, at that moment, I was like, I don't want to pursue basketball on that kind of level anymore. You know, because my passion,
decision.
my passion wasn't there for it. Like, the passion didn't match with music and basketball. Like, it was that moment where I was like, which one can I live without, music or basketball? And yeah, basketball lost. But
Todd wants to know, did you play against any other Houston ballers that I might know? Not me. Don't ask me because I don't know.
probably not. I mean, the people from my generation, they probably retired from the NBA. But I mean, I did play.
Old.
No, we're not that old. We're not that old. But
Shaq is still like walking up and just like dropping things in the net.
yeah, but he's like 13 feet tall. So, but yeah, I haven't but I haven't really had a chance to play against any big Houston ballers. Nah.
That's what I'm saying. I wouldn't know who they were.
Yeah.
I mean, I just wouldn't.
Yeah. I mean, I did in high school, but the ones that made it to the league, I played against them in high school. That's about it.
Nice, Jared. Funny.
That was funny.
He's got jokes.
Yeah.
Well, one of the things that I'm doing recently, at least in the last couple of weeks, the last week and this coming week especially, I'm on the market. I'm looking that intro that I played on when we started. I'm looking to get a new beat for that. I'm not asking you, don't get me wrong. I'm not like, oh, what do you want to do? No. I'm looking for something that makes sense, right? And I can't figure out how to describe what I want. I cannot figure out how to tell, because I know plenty of people that make beats and have offered to do it for me. In fact, I actually have one I could use, but we used it in the rap competition. Blindsight made a beat and he gave it. He's like, here you go. You can use it for whatever. You can use it for your channel. You can use it for the competition. I'm gifting it to you because he made it himself. But it's kind of like, it's a little bit, it's rappy and it's like, it's not, I'm a girl. Like, you know, I don't need something that's, yes, thank you, Wallflower. Something that screams cat. Like,
yeah, you want something that
fits. But I want bass. Like, I can't articulate what I want. I don't want bubbly and but I don't want, you know what I'm saying? I can't figure out, and that's the hardest thing for me.
Do you want cute and bassy?
I want cute and dirty.
Cute and dirty? That's a good explanation. Yeah, that could be done.
Bye, Creeker Mariah. I appreciate you coming through, hon. I really do.
Yeah, appreciate you, Creeker Mariah. All right, see you.
I'm just saying, make a challenge where people have to make a beat for the intro. I'm not gonna make people do all that. Like, that to me is like trying to get people to do something for me when I could I have a couple people that, I mean, they're already offered, and I'm not gonna sit there and be like, everybody go make one and hand it to me. Like, that's a lot of work. I'm not doing all that. But I mean, cute and dirty. I just can't think of, like, when I hear it, I can tell that it's like, well, no, that's vibey, and I don't like vibey. And then I'm like, oh, well, that's a little bit too, I like angsty, but angsty doesn't work for a channel intro. I get all over the place, and then I give up, which is why it's taken me 3 weeks to do this. Yeah. There need to have a glossary of terms, and then little little clips of what they sound like.
That is a good idea. Somebody probably needs to put some definitions next to certain sounds so people would know.
Like a Beatopedia,
It's a good idea. I'm gonna have to take that idea.
Pictionary.
Yeah.
I
But
don't
no,
know
I
what to
mean,
call it.
you might have to. I know if because it seems like you have like what you're looking for. Just you have a hard time explaining it, so you probably would have to get something made custom for it.
Cute and Dirty reminds me of a 70s porn music drop. Well, you know,
Could sample that
that could work.
with the ASMR.
Yeah, we add ASMR to that. Golden. Golden. No, it's one of those things where I appreciate the process. I know how hard it is to, because I'm not creative in that way, right? I'm not
Uh-huh.
a composer, and beat making is composing
Yeah.
as far as I'm concerned.
Hmm.
So I appreciate what goes into it and how hard it is, and you know what I'm saying? Like I get that. I just don't know how to say, oh, I just go, ooh. And that to me is like plenty, that face right there that just told you like, ooh, I like that. I don't know how to put it into words. Like if someone were gonna tell you that, give you like a good review of your song, what would they say? Like would they articulate how they heard it or how it sounded? Are you more concerned about like the overall result, or do you live for those moments where it just like goes boom, and just like those moments, those beat drops, those, you know what I'm saying, where it just kind of knocks your socks off?
I think a little bit of everything.
You want all of
With
the things?
yeah,
I do too.
because everybody listens to music different. That's why. So
Right.
everybody's reaction on how they hear it, they may be reacting to like something that the artist is saying. They may be reacting to the beat, you know, and like you said, they may be reacting to like the drops and stuff like that. So like for me, it's all of the above.
I get it. I've seen what people use, like the programs when it's up on their
Hmm.
screen, and they
Hmm.
go through and they're like, I'm gonna add insert whatever snare here, and there's like 300 of them. I cannot, and I guess it's just practice makes perfect. You know what you're looking for, you know what they're going to sound like. I cannot imagine the first time that you went through, okay, well, I'm going to go through 300 snares and find the one I want.
Yeah, I have
Is it
about
just,
I have about 2,000 snares, and I use like the same five or six.
well,
So
I
I
mean,
just
I get that. I thought 300 was a lot. I was like, wow, that's like a really big number, but I'm trying to make a point, and then you drop like a couple thousand. I'm like, okay.
well, I mean,
Okay.
it's because I've been collecting drums for a long time, and yeah, but I I end up using the same five drums because I would like use them in layers, or I would manipulate them a little bit to change them how I want it to sound. But yeah,
So,
like
so having 300 or 5,000 isn't necessary if you know how to work with the five you've got.
yeah,
That makes
it's not really
complete sense.
necessary, but I mean, it's good to have because you never know when you're going to need it. So that's the reason why sometimes you may come across a producer and they may have like a million sounds in their computer, just for that case, because you never know the artist you're gonna run across, the type of what sounds are gonna pair with their voice. Because I work with people with some unique voices, and not
Hmm.
the same set of sounds are not gonna sound the same, as well as drums are not gonna sound the same, depending on the voice, the tone, stuff like that.
Right. Yeah, I was already, my mind was blown when I was trying to, it was like, I don't know, 7 years ago, when you used like Audible. Was it not Audible? Audacity? Whatever that
Yeah,
program was for
Audacity.
voices.
Yeah.
Audacity. And then
Uh-huh.
you could like use the hallway, and it was like echo, like
Hmm.
crazy echo, and I was like, "Whoa, that's crazy. I'm in a bathroom." Or it would sound like that. And
Yeah.
I was like, that's not what I wanted. And so I'd adjust something and I'd screw it up, and then I would sound like crazy for like the next five what were you using it? Skype calls, right? My Skype calls are like, "Where are you at?" And I'm like, "At my computer." They're like, "You're in the bathroom. Why are you in the bathroom?" I'm like, I couldn't fix my settings. So I can't imagine having a million of those to go through to just get just the right sound and just what you want. But do you build it as you go? Okay, this is a stupid question. Hear me out.
Hmm.
Do you build it as you go, or do you have it here and you're looking for the sounds that you want to make it sound the way you want? Or are you, maybe a drum would work and you hear when you go, ooh, and then you think of what you want to do with it?
Uh, all three. Yeah. So
Yes,
sometimes
just say yes.
yeah. So
Yes.
sometimes I may have like I may have a whole idea in my head from the melody to the snares to how I want to lay the hi hats, and that used to be the hardest thing for me to be able to do. Get the idea out of my head, how I hear it, out into the physical world and to where it sounds like it's in my head. So I do have those moments where I already have the idea. This is how I want to do it, and I'm gonna execute it that way. And a lot of times when I come into the studio with an artist, I don't have any idea. Like with Ryan, I didn't have any idea of, and I try to keep an open mind and be open to what they're trying to do, so I can be receiving of the information. Um, but yeah, like it was just an open, yeah, it was just an open slate. Like we just came in and we just winged it. And then the very first song we winged was "Stars Go Blue."
That, well, if that's you winging it, like,
Yeah,
I
that's
mean,
that.
seriously,
Yeah,
that one was a hit. To me, that's still my favorite.
yeah, that's one of my favorites. And then the second one we winged was "The Lights Went Out in Georgia."
Hmm.
Nice, yeah. So
That one was
yeah.
nice. But Stars Go Blue, that one, I actually still listen to that. I still play it on, like, if I'm
Hmm.
just in a mood to listen to something different, I'll just pop that on real quick. Because it
Yeah.
gets stuck in my head.
I
And I
that
can't
that
get it
one
out of
in
my head.
that one in the studio that one was a little magical when we made that one, because even me, I was a little surprised, and Ryan too, because he got up, it was like, bro, I gotta give you a hug because this is just too amazing. So yeah, so that was a pretty fun session.
What's up, Captain Kurt? Appreciate you
What
being
up?
here, man.
What up, Kurt?
I mean, that's the thing, though, is it's like, if that's you just like winging it, yeah, he knows. We all know. It's been a thing. It is our unique thing. Every stream has to have a unique thing, and that's our unique thing this time. We've
My
decided.
bad.
That's what makes this podcast special. We're gonna have some. If it wasn't for technical difficulties, I wouldn't be on the air at all. Like, I think pretty much. I've had to rebuild an entire stream from Streamlabs and then bring it all onto Restream. Like, I had to do the whole thing live. I was already live. I was like, whoops. Okay.
That's a headache because yeah, Streamlabs was giving me the business yesterday. I was about to punch the computer.
No, I believe it. What we're doing right now, I'm trying to get off of Streamlabs because, see, I don't do like reactions or anything. I don't record. I can pull my videos off of YouTube if I want, and I download them
Hmm.
anyway to rip the audio.
Hmm.
I do that anyway. So I don't need I don't need Streamlabs to record. So why
Yeah.
am I using it? It's just an extra hassle. Like,
Oh,
so
StreamYard.
I'm using Restream this time.
Oh,
And Restream actually has been working better than StreamYard for me. I like it better. But that's me. I mean,
yeah.
each
I
their own.
think Creek and Mariah used Restream too when we did ours, and it was
Mhm.
pretty good.
Well, see, and I started with Streamlabs, and then I liked all this. I learned how to use it, and I figured it all out. And then I realized I was doing the most. Like, why am I doing so much?
Mm.
To be honest, my screen would be us, a chat, and my logo.
That makes sense. Yeah, and Streamlabs is
So
a bit complicated. Yeah.
I mean, it's like using a Swiss Army knife when you just needed a Phillips head screwdriver. I mean, it wasn't
Yeah.
really that
Yeah.
necessary. Or like using a
Yeah.
jackhammer. Like, I didn't need all that.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
but I do use it to like record stuff, if I want to pull clips and stuff. But other than that, yeah, text to speech donations. Well, guess what? Nobody donates, so I don't have to worry about that. It kind of works out for me.
Not yet.
Not really, and that's okay because I don't ask for them. Like doesn't bother me. I'm not here for people to donate. Like I'm here because I want to
Yeah.
have a conversation. I want to talk to you. I want to learn about what you're doing, how your brain works. Like do you have any pets? you know.
I want some, but no.
Mm. I have a cat who's decided that my mother he likes her more. So
We've been having that debate in our house because the, our kids want a dog. I don't want a dog. I like dogs, but they're a responsibility that my kids are not ready for. So I'm in line more with the cat because I like cats more. They're a little more independent. They're not always in your face. Yeah.
well, they'll lick their butt in your face. But other than that,
Yeah,
they
that
pretty
too.
much do their thing, and when they deem you worthy, you know. Tactar wants to know what the sample that was started with on Monster Max is called.
What is that sample? Let me see. I think let me see. I had it right here. Hold on. I'm gonna get it to you. I think I had told Kurt. I can't remember what it was when Kurt asked me. I think the other day.
And see, what's funny is I know that you've been on talked to other people. I haven't watched a single one. I don't, and that doesn't make me a jerk because here's the thing:
No.
we've had this scheduled for a while, but
Yeah,
I didn't want to talk to you like after I already heard all the things.
that makes sense. That
Do you know
makes
what I'm
sense.
saying? And I didn't want to be like
Yeah.
already come into it with like prior
Yeah.
knowledge aside from what I found when I asked you in the first place. So
Yeah. The song is called Tribe Attica from 1971.
he said he asked you about the beat and if that was a superhero background.
A superhero background? Nah, but it sounds like superhero music.
Yeah. I remember when I first heard which one was it? It was I think it was maybe the one that samples You Don't Own Me. Not yours, but it was a song that was on the radio. And I was like, they're stealing the song. And my kids are like, oh, it's this new song. I'm like, that's not new. That's Leslie Gore. I listened to that on repeat when I was a kid. No. Like, because I didn't know. This was, years ago. I had no clue. I was like,
Yeah.
they stole the song. I was so upset. And then I started hearing it more. And I'm like, oh, they're stealing. I didn't understand. Like, I thought that they were taking the exact song and, like, just singing over it.
Yeah.
I didn't get it until I actually started paying attention because that was when I was like early 20s and I didn't pay attention, right? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I just listened in the car when I was going somewhere. I didn't really pay attention. But now I'm like, oh, that makes sense. So I went back and I started listening to some stuff that like pulls samples and stuff to appreciate it differently than when I thought everybody was a, klepto beat people. But I mean, I can't imagine how would you like Stars Go. How did you decide? Okay, this is what I'm just gonna magically throw a dart and find a song. Like, did you think of it?
Well, no. How it started was we were just having a conversation in the studio, and Ryan was like, "Dude, what do you think about sampling this?" And I was like, "Let's do it." So they were talking. I just turned around and started working, and I don't think he expected me to turn around and just get to work that quick because I just started banging out the beat real quick. He went outside, and I think they were talking and came back in, and the beat was like constructed. So yeah, it came together pretty quick on that one. But yeah, that idea actually came from Ryan. He was the one who initiated that idea. He was like, "What do you think about sampling this?" And that's how we got led down that whole of sampling these
You should
country songs.
You need to send him a beat that like samples Baby Shark and see what he does. I bet he would kill it.
I'm pretty sure he'll kill the beat. I'm pretty sure, yeah. Baby Shark?
Or like, any. That was the first one that came to mind. I mean, you know what I was thinking? One time I was thinking, like Full House, the original Full House.
Mm-hmm.
Dun, 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 dun.
I actually sampled that like years ago, but I'm gonna have to go
Nailed
in and
it.
redo it. No. I mean, I did, but the artist didn't. So it got shit
Oh.
up. Yeah, I'm gonna go back in and redo it.
Well, I like it. I think that's cool,
Yeah.
personally. Like Family Matters or something. Like this old school shows or something. Just a touch of nostalgia. But I couldn't think. There's so many songs out there that you could possibly pick from. I can't even imagine narrowing it down and being able to put 2 plus 2 and say, okay, well, this is actually going to work. Because
Yeah,
I'm the one that would pick the worst one.
Yeah, Jared got me cracking up over here because I can hear Upchurch saying that.
That's hilarious. This needs to happen, y'all. We need to start a petition. Let's start one on change.org. Get Upchurch to kill a beat.
The Baby Shark.
Motherfucker.
I'm gonna have to say it.
I think it'd be funny.
If this video gets 100,000 likes, I'm gonna have to do it.
Yeah, well.
I'm just playing.
So that's a no. If this video gets 100,000 likes, I'm pretty much gonna keel over.
And I'm sampling Baby Shark.
Yeah, I'll keel over after you do that, just so I can pay attention.
Yeah, you got to hear it first.
I got to hear that happen. That's got to happen. That is so funny. I'm so. I could hear the motherfucker.
Exactly. That's all I've been hearing with these last records, like motherfucker, like just with all the reactives. It's that's hilarious to me.
Oh my god, that's funny. Do something a good, bad, the ugly Western song. There's this Western song called Cow Patty. That's a fun one.
Cow Patty?
Do that one. Mm-hmm.
I gotta hear that one.
Cow Patty. Cow Patty. Yeah. My mom's name is Patricia, so my stepfather, before he passed, he used to play this song at her.
Mm-hmm.
We're talking about this Western shootout, and the guy had the deep voice like Cow Patty, Cow Patty.
They're talking about a shootout.
Well, it kind of was, but I have to find that song.
I would have thought it was about hamburgers or something.
Did you tiptoe through the tulips? We do that one. That would be a good one.
I got it.
If anybody knows that song,
but
that would be epic.
The thing I like about sampling is how I'm getting introduced to a lot of these old songs that I've never even heard of.
Yeah.
And so I'm getting to hear some of the way the musicians did stuff back in the day, and I'm imitating or redoing some of that stuff. So I'm learning at the same time.
It's kind of like elevating, right?
Yeah.
That's what Gordon Ramsay calls it, where you take a classic and you elevate it.
Yeah.
Make it.
I mean, the playbook is there. It's like you just gotta update it, make it sound current.
What's your favorite era? If you had to choose. If you had to choose.
If I had to choose, I would say 70s. The 70s, their whole era of the R&B and the soul and even the disco that came out of that era. It's still to this day to me is unmatched. The quality of it, the musicianship of it, even the engineers back in the 70s, the way the equipment sounded to me that time was when music was amazing. Music is still amazing, but that's what birthed, I think, a lot of what's going on now, just because of the quality of what was getting pushed back then. Because back in the day, you had to have $1 million studio to get something that sounded amazing in the 70s,
Right.
But yeah, that would be my time, I think.
Mine's the 90s. I think everybody knows that 90s, hands down. No, there's no competition for me personally.
Yeah.
I mean, you can pretty much pull up any 90s song, and I'm there for it. I'll just. You're not gonna make me mad. But here's the thing. The era I appreciate the most is 50s, 40s.
50s.
50s,
40s and 40s has some pretty cool music too. The birth of, because that's around the birth of rock and roll. And around that time. Yeah.
Where when they sang, it was them singing.
Mm-hmm.
Their touch ups hardly. So it was like pure. It was the pure talent. It was a
Yeah.
pure sound. So that's
Yeah.
for me. That's a really great base for things to build off of because real talent, pure voices, right, and
Mm-hmm.
pure like the drums were somebody sitting there playing the drums. The saxophone was somebody standing there playing the saxophone. That's a great base. And it
Yeah.
was really cool because you didn't have to wonder. Like, when you go and you see people in concert and you're like, well, I wonder if they're going to have, if it's going to be a backing track or if they're actually going to play it. Like, you just never know,
Yeah.
you know? And I think I like music today. I think the auto tune needs to be taken out back and shot. But, that's me. I mean, I just, when it's overused, like when you're like, and I do it on here because I have auto tune on this thing and I'll butcher it. But I just think that all the stuff that kind of goes back to those, well, they were oldies when I was a kid, you know, Motown, all of that, all those sounds. I just think they can't be beat, you know?
Yeah.
They're like in a whole
Yeah.
different lane than
Yeah.
modern music.
Yeah. And I think that probably has a little bit to do with what we were talking about earlier with the radio. With the radio, I think they're responsible with the way music got watered down because of program radio. When you play the same song over throughout a day 20 times, it's like you're programming people. This is what music is supposed to be like,
They would drive
So
you crazy.
yeah, so over time, from the 90s to now, music has gotten watered down.
Hmm. And like, I remember when I was in third grade. Okay, I was in third grade. It was 1993. I was
Hmm.
10, and
Hmm.
Ace of Base came out with "I Saw the Sign," and my teacher obsessively loved that.
I
Loved it.
remember that song.
I love that song. I love Ace of Base, but I
Yeah.
love every. I said it's 90s, so nailed it. Um, Mix 93.3 in Kansas City played it
Hmm.
every hour on the hour, and she would in our third grade class, she would turn on the radio because they had such a high demand for that song. They would play it like a 5 after the hour every single hour. And she would
Hmm.
turn it on and we listened to that song for the 7 hours we were in class, like 7 times.
Yeah.
Radio stations, like you could call in and tell, hey, can you play blah, blah, blah? And they would throw it in the mix, they would add something
Hmm.
to it. Now, the last time I really listened to them, I was stuck listening to the radio because a coworker, when I was in the office a couple years ago, she had the radio on. And I couldn't
Hmm.
get them to stop. But it was the same songs in rotation. I heard the same like 4, 5, 6 songs every 70 minutes. They would come back on over and over. And it was on rock stations and it was on country stations and it was on pop stations. It was everywhere. They
Yeah.
recycled the same songs every single day. There was nothing new, nothing different. If it
Hmm.
was 80s, like they'd say, 80s, 90s into today, they played Michael Jackson, Madonna, Prince. Like it was, you knew
Yeah.
the next song is going to be Madonna or Michael Jackson. Like that's just what it's going to be, and you're stuck.
Yeah. And and everybody in America were battling for them same 5 radio positions to get this song on the radio.
Hmm.
Yeah. So
And it's sad because you'd think that you'd have like a truly mashup. Like I said, when we were growing up, you could actually hear different stuff on the radio. They'd be like, "Oh my God, there's a new song coming out. Whoa, you guys got to check this out. Oh,
mhm.
here's a local artist. This is really cool." And you could call and request it and stuff like that. But now it's just they stick them in the loop, like in the playlist,
Mhm.
and put it on the loop. And they have that algorithm where they say you have this many spins you're allowed to do. And it's just sad because it stunts people. They don't get to hear different things and new things
Yeah, and
only if
it
they
does.
choose to listen to radio.
Yeah, it does 2 things. It does to me. It stunts that, and it stunts sometimes the growth of the artist because,
Right.
like I was talking about earlier, when you have that pay for play system in place,
Right.
when you can pay for your position, like how much growth can you get from that? You know what I'm saying? Because it's not really earned. You're
Right.
paying for it. Like it's a big difference when you actually earn that. You know what I'm saying? And you earn that right to have that record spin. Like even this from people that earn their position in the industry, they sound different from people that's paid their way in the industry.
Right.
If you pay
Absolutely.
attention to it, yeah.
And I think the breakout artists. What's
Yeah.
up, Truth? He's in the chat. What's up, man?
Yeah.
Appreciate you swinging by, man. Yeah, the breakout artists, like the ones that just like they're so good that they can't deny it.
Mhm.
They can't deny them. And they're like, yeah, this person's amazing versus the, well, they say they're amazing and it sounds just like everything else, but yay, new song, same sound, same lyrics, same concept,
Yeah. Mhm.
same what it's made out of, like, well, I just think that, I appreciate people that hustle for themselves, people that work, people that believe in what they're doing
Mhm.
and are always trying to do better and do more
Mhm.
and learn from mistakes or learn from just feedback and constructive criticism and all that stuff.
Mhm.
I mean, I appreciate all of that, and I appreciate people that appreciate that.
Yeah, same here. Yeah, same here.
I mean, it just takes a different type of person if you can accept constructive criticism. I mean, it might hit you, and you're like, "Well, shit, okay, damn, all right." Like, you need to say that,
Yeah,
but okay, I'll take notes.
yeah. And being a creative, you gotta be able to do that. Take constructive criticism
Mm,
all the time. Because when you can't take it, it looks bad.
yeah, it does. I mean, honestly, because the purpose of putting music out there is for people to hear it, right?
Mhm.
You might create it out of a place that's internal
Mhm.
or mental, but the intention of putting your music out there is for it to be heard. And in
Right.
order for it to be heard and to be spread, you can't rely on two people. I mean, I'd love to. That would shit. I'd be the most famous person in the world. Two people, got that in the bag, right? However, you want people to hear it, so you've got to be able to take the criticism of people that are listening, whether they know a thing about what they're talking about or not. They're still going to be able to at least give you some kind of a direction that you might, whether you take it or leave it, that you could
Yeah.
go.
Yeah. And it's like looking in a mirror. Like if I look at my own reflection in the mirror, I can't see what you see because I'm not outside of myself.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So it's the same thing with music and how producers and how we perceive our own sound. How we hear our sound is not the same how you may hear it. You may hear the imperfections that I'm not hearing. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm the one that's creating it. So
Exactly.
yeah. So in a lot of cases, and I see that happen a lot. With the time I've been in the industry, where somebody can't take that constructive criticism and they're not hearing what the person is trying to say. So
Exactly.
yeah, and like I said, it just looks real bad because those conversations get awkward whenever somebody can't receive what you're trying to tell them. Like, hey, like, I don't think I like this that much. You may need to change the sound a little bit. It's lacking here.
Right.
Yeah,
Or it's
yeah,
just too much. Like there's just too much going on. Or wow, that like made my ear want to like scream at me because that was way up there. Because
yeah,
I hear
yeah,
stuff like that all the time because people they're like, hey, I'm working on something. Check this out, and I'm like, that's great, but what the hell was that? Like that kind of thing. And I
yeah,
was always worried about giving my feedback, but they wouldn't have sent it if they didn't want it. Do you know what I'm saying? And they're like, oh well, I
yeah.
need the feedback. And I
Hmm.
just think that anybody that's not willing to take any kind of input or information or compliments or need for improvement is just going to be stagnant. They're going to be up in their own little world, in their own little echo chamber, and everything they do is wonderful and amazing. And they could either maybe just hit another level or a different lane or anything. It could be anything, right?
Yeah, it
That's
could
why I
be.
always tell people, comment, tell me what you think. That kind of stuff. I tell people, tell me what you want
Yeah,
to see. Tell me what you like. Tell me what you don't like. Hey, you need to stop rambling. Oh, you need to talk more. Like, say something. Tell me.
yeah,
I like topics, or you need to keep them shorter. You need to do longer. Like whatever the case may be. Because
yeah,
how am I ever going to get better or grow?
yeah,
But
yeah. And that's true. That's
literally,
true.
you're like, hey, well, let's feeling cute, gonna take a sample and just make one of the best beats anybody's ever heard.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's you. You're just like, well, here, 10 minutes later, you got like Stars Go Blue. I'm like, well, come on. That's different.
Yeah. And
'Cause, I
to
mean,
me, to me, we was just in the studio that day. It's still crazy. Like to me, I'm just thinking it's just normal. Like, hey, this is what we normally do. And then he releases it like 2 days later. I'm like, oh, this is something really amazing.
yeah, it turned out amazing.
Mm-hmm.
I was kind of sad that he didn't include the 281. Shout out 281.
Yeah, he still shouted out Houston though.
Yeah, well, my mom's got an 832, so it counts. Okay.
Yeah, I'm in 281, so yeah.
It's like, come on, you missed us. You missed a whole demographic of 281s. Like, stop. But no, that was really good. And like I said, I know a lot of people first heard you, through Up Church and Creek Squad and stuff. I actually had heard your tag before. I can't place it for the life of me. I know I've heard it before.
Yeah,
I don't know what it was.
I have had some songs with Kevin Gates and one other guy that was doing pretty good down here, and I got a song with Young Blue, and I think it got a couple million spins on YouTube now. My tag is on that thing, so it could have been from one of those. I did some stuff with yeah. It's a couple other artists I've done stuff with around Houston, and possibly could have heard it on the radio down here too. So no telling.
The female vocal one, Kat? Are you talking about the song that I'm talking about? The Stars Go Blue one? I'm not singing it, just FYI.
Yeah.
So it's the one that the reel I released yesterday. It was the beat that was on that one. Not the one today, the one yesterday. That was the one. That's the one I'm talking about. If that's what you're asking. But
and that's actually Tim McGraw on the sample. Yeah,
didn't know it could sound like that, did you?
Yeah, we just turned them all the way up. I mean, just pitched them up a little bit.
Oh, the tag?
Oh, the tag? Now that's my little nephew. He's not little anymore. Aww. He's grown now. But when I first started, literally when I first started in the industry, I had him do my tag.
That's super cute.
Yeah, I never changed it, so I'm not gonna change it.
You shouldn't.
Yeah, I'm not gonna. I've had people try to like, hey man, you don't want to change it. Like, no. It has sentimental value to me. Yeah.
That's actually really cool because, I mean, it stands out, honestly.
Oh, appreciate
but no, I really respect what you're doing. I really do.
Appreciate that.
I respect what you're putting out there, and I've been keeping a close eye. I know that you're a little bit social media shy, to a point where and it's not because you're like, well, I just don't want. No, you literally are too busy. For the most part, it doesn't even cross your mind to do it, which is fine. But anytime I catch like a tag that has to do with you and stuff, I always go check it out just to try and show some support. Just because I really resonate with what you're doing. Everything I hear that you put out that I'm aware of is amazing, and you just seem like a really cool guy. You've always been kind to me in like messages and stuff. You've never been a jerk. You've never like blown me off like.
Oh yeah, so, no, I can't. Yeah, I appreciate that because I always see you showing support. I really appreciate it. Now, see, it's a few other people too that I always see up and down my page all the time, consistently showing support. And I really appreciate that because for somebody like me, I've been in the industry for years, and whenever I do stuff, I don't look for like who's cheering me on. I just love doing music, but when I do see it, I really appreciate it.
Oh, that's awesome because I know that I appreciate it when I get it. So, I try to return that to other people. Like you're taking the time out of your day when you could be doing something else or you could be, working on something to just sit here and talk to me and just have a conversation that, you could have with anybody, know, and I truly appreciate it.
Yeah.
I mean, it means a lot like that people would give their time because you're donating your time, which I appreciate.
Yeah.
Because, I've got a small channel. I'm not like some huge podcast. Like I'm not like, any podcast you can think of is probably bigger than mine, unless they haven't started yet. So it means a lot that you would agree to do this and that we've had this on the books for a while and finally it, made it happen.
Yeah.
And it's
And
a Friday night.
yeah, I've been looking forward to it too. I've been looking forward to it.
Me too.
So,
I've been in my server like, yeah, can't wait, can't wait. Well, just because I think you're awesome, and every time I've had any interaction with you, you've been a really nice person. Like you've been
Oh.
sincere, you've been straightforward, you've never treated me like I was a bother. You know, because I know I'm a nag. It's all good.
Yeah.
I have to be.
Nah.
I mean, I have to be. Like, oh, I'm sorry, you got busy. Well, I need to know. Like I do all that stuff.
But no, I appreciate it though, because like I said, I'm always so busy to the point to where like sometimes I have to slow down. And whenever I get messages or whenever I talk to people in your position, you know what I'm saying, that especially with what you do, I need to be able to slow down and take these moments. You know what I'm saying, to be able to talk to you and talk to other people, so people can know who I am, because I know that's a really big part of the industry that I've been running from for a while, but I need to just swallow that pill, just and start doing it more often. So yeah, I really appreciate like your channel and what you're doing, because stuff like that really helps out people like me and other artists.
No, that's awesome, and thank you for saying that. By the way, yeah, don't get started on the AI stuff. Do not get me started. They're asking about AI generated beats, and I'm like, don't go there. Like, do not go there. I've had two podcasts, one by myself and one with Cliff Beats, where we went into like AI, and we had a special guest. Michael jumped up here, scared the shit out of all of us with all of the stuff that's coming down the road. Like, let's just not.
Yeah, AI is crazy. Yeah, no.
He just wants to know. He just wants to know your thoughts on AI generated beats. Do you think useful for ideas or crap?
I think it's both. It depends on who's using the tool. Like the more and more that I'm producing, I'm starting to use. I'm not saying AI assisted tools, but tools that are kind of close to that. But to me, one thing that I feel like is going to be really hard to do is to really mimic the human element of musicianship in AI. They've been trying to do it for a while, but the human element is too many variables that go into that. You know what I'm saying? For you to be able to study that, because it's such, it's like the capabilities of what we're able to do musically, it's just too wide for me, and I know AI is crazy. It's always learning, forever learning. But to be able to mimic the human touch, like when they do that, then that's when I'm gonna be in trouble. But I just don't see that happening right off back right away right now.
My point is, it's always going to be mimicking something. It's never an original thought.
Yeah,
it comes from something. Now, and then people argue with you. That's why I don't want to get into it. People argue with me. They're like, well, we're like a blank slate when we're born. I'm like, no, because when you're a baby and you're mad, you're like, did someone say you have to go in order if you want something? No, you just did it.
Yeah,
AI has to learn to do that. Like I have images pop up in my head for no reason. I didn't ask it to. AI has to go get. I'm not getting it. Like I said, I'm not going there because I get salty about all that because I think that I don't want to pay for a beat, so I just go and I go get one generated, and it's like woohoo! But it's pulling from other people's stuff. It's taking bits and pieces from other people's stuff. I'm not saying that sample or that all those like elements that you have aren't doing the same thing. It's not the same. If you say I say this about writing, I say this about art, I say about anything AI. If you describe something, okay, and you say, make this for me, and you're surprised when it's done, it's not your art. You didn't create it. I don't care if you're a good describer, you're a good describer. I mean, that's my opinion on it. I don't think it's creative. I don't think people can claim they made a beat if they used a couple describing words.
I don't think it's creative at all.
I mean, that's my opinion, though. I know it's a polarizing topic because some people love it, some people hate it, some people want to argue with me on every little detail. I'm here for it. If they want to go, let's go. But no. And I saw something earlier, by the way, Champagne Rain. I know I saw you ask about the studio. He was saying earlier that they have a building.
Yeah, we have a building. It's not
they each have their space in there.
Yeah.
A
Well, no,
studio?
it's not a side gig. It's actually my full-time job. I've been fortunate to be able to produce and engineer full-time and actually support my family off of it, solely off of my musical income and nothing else. Um, so yeah, I mean, and it's a blessing to be able to do that.
No, that's awesome because like that's the goal, is to do what you love and be
Yeah,
able to support your family with the income
yeah,
that you make.
yeah.
Is that
But I'm
simple?
not saying
That's that's the
I'm
goal,
not rich. I'm not rich.
right?
I'm still getting there. But still, just to be able um to have it to where I can make a living off of this and be able to provide for my family. That's yeah. To me, that's something that's amazing.
Yep.
I appreciate that, Champagne Rain.
And fun fact, her husband builds studios,
For real?
like high end, high
Yeah.
end. I actually have a podcast with him where we
Okay.
have pictures of all his studios. It was not all of
That's
them, but
pretty
some of them.
cool.
It's really great. It was really
Yeah.
cool. But
When
yeah,
I get after me and Ryan get a couple of these records together, I'm gonna have to give him a call.
like what is the one? Oh my God, City Dump Records in what is it? Chicago? Is it in Chicago? Anyway, ones like that. You know, personal studios, commercial studios. You know, all different types.
Hmm.
It was really cool, and he described everything, like what the different stuff on the walls, what it did for the sound, and how acoustically and everything like that.
Yeah,
Hey,
me and my
Annette, she just landed in Houston. She's one of my best friends from when I was in third grade. No, I met her when I was 16. We've been
that's pretty
best
cool.
friends. She
Hey,
just
what's up,
landed in
Annette?
Houston. We're hanging out all weekend. Well,
That sounds
I
fun.
know.
Sounds fun.
But no, it was a really cool time to hear about like studios and how they work and like what all those little things like if you move your cup over here, is that going to change the sound enough for it to make a difference? Type. It was a really cool conversation.
Yeah, yeah. There's a lot of science that goes into that.
Yeah, I mean, good for them for being able to do that. But like, I don't math that hard.
Yeah,
Like that's a lot of math. Like and
it
like
is.
it's like playing pool. Like I can do angles. Like I can guess that if I hit it there, it's going to roll that way, and I can play pool pretty well. But you want me to come up with like an equation? Get the fuck out of here. It's like, no, I'm good.
We went through that whenever me and my friend we built this studio. Yeah, so we're not the best. I'm pretty sure Champagne Rain's husband is probably amazing at that, So we were working on a budget here, but I went through a little bit of that, so I know.
No, it was a lot. It was a really cool conversation. Just learning. Like I said, I don't know all of the ins and outs and how things work. And okay, so and it's dusty as hell. So like, don't judge me. But this thing, right?
Uh-huh.
It has knobs on it that I don't know what they do. I don't know what they do. So I'm just like, this one. I was like, I'm gonna adjust my settings. I'm like,
Just start messing with it.
yeah, I don't know what I did, and I fixed it. Then yay. If not, oh well. I can make like clapping sounds, which I think is great. I don't know how to add new sounds. I can make myself sound like I'm on helium. That's fun.
That's pretty cool.
But like, I don't know what all this stuff does. Just like when they're talking about studios and stuff, I don't know what all of it does. When people are talking about putting intricate like raps together, I don't know all. Like, I'm not that type of creative brain, like a composition composer type. Where I
Mhm.
create it in my mind.
Mhm.
But it's so much fun to hear and to learn about. What motivates you? Where your process starts? So what do you start with? What makes you say, "Ooh, that's the one"? Like if you hear something that everyone else is going to be like, "Well, it's just a song." How do you know that it's like, "I'm going to do something with that"? Or do you like just pick one and then say, "I'm going to make it happen"? I mean, those are like the most interesting parts of it for people that don't have that type of brain.
Yeah, it is, and I can see why you'll say that. Yeah, I can see why you'll say that. But I was reading some of these comments and got sidetracked.
That's okay. All right, Jess, thanks for helping me out, sis. I appreciate you. We're not going to stay on too much longer. We've already been on for about an hour and 40 minutes. So, and it's Friday night. He's got stuff to do. I got stuff to do. I'm sure all y'all have stuff to do as well. So, we're not going to be on here that much longer as it is.
Oh yeah, I didn't even realize what time it was. Yeah, I got a
I
session
know,
coming.
right?
Yeah, I
I
gotta
didn't
say,
either.
coming
I
in a little
actually
bit.
I thought it was like I thought it'd been just over an hour. I didn't realize it'd been like over an hour and a half.
Yeah, that's what happens in the studio.
Oops. Yeah, exactly. And when it was just when I had headphones and I didn't have the camera and everything like that, I was less aware of how much time was going through. We would just be a bunch of people on here just be talking and joking around, and time would just fly. And it'd be like 7 hours later. I'm like, what are we doing? What are we
Yeah,
doing?
I'm gonna have to figure out what's going on, Jen, because yeah, they're saying it's only staticking when I speak, and I don't hear the static on my end. But you hear me staticking those,
Mm,
or do
I
you?
do.
Okay,
hmm
yeah, I'm not sure.
Like it just did it right there for half a second.
Yeah,
And
I'm
it
thinking
went
it's
all right. It
yeah, I'm
just did it
thinking it
again.
has to be the connection.
It probably is. I mean,
Yeah,
honestly, but everybody stuck around anyway, which because you're interesting to talk to, and they wanted to know what you had to say. So I appreciate that.
no, I appreciate that. Currently
But I'm
painting. Y'all
definitely.
give me.
Oh, you too, Jen. Thank you for swinging through. I appreciate you guys. And honestly, we're probably going to go ahead and wrap it up. I know you got something going on. Like I said, I got stuff I have to get to. I have to get, you know, dinner and momming and adulting. Okay. No, I love my kids to pieces. I mean, look,
Same here, but I mean, when you're parenting, you're parenting. Only parents will understand that. So
Best mom.
yeah, that's pretty cool.
my kid did that. I was working and I was like zoned in, and she was behind me, and I turned around and that's what it said. So it was really kind of cool.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I gotta go do the adulting thing, and I know you got work to do. So I appreciate everybody that's been here, and for you taking the time to talk to me and let me muddle through some questions and all of the above, and
Yeah.
giving some insights
hmm
into what you do.
Now I appreciate y'all for listening to me.
No, not a problem. And does anybody have any last minute questions, y'all? I'm gonna give you a couple seconds to if you have any last minute questions, and then we're gonna get out of here and do our thing and let y'all go get on with your night too. Jeopardy theme. Ooh, that would be a good one too.
I appreciate that, Wallflower. I'm sorry about the static.
I think what you were saying was interesting enough. It didn't matter. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
Well, okay, we're gonna go ahead and get out of here. Appreciate you guys. Thank you so much. Like I said, I can't thank you enough for taking the time. I was stoked for this one.
Anytime.
And I think if you ever need something from me, whatever it is you need someone to, yeah, I don't know what I can do for you, but if there's something I can do, let me know. And
Oh,
I
same.
thank you.
Yeah, same here. And yeah, you got to come out to the studio and come meet everybody up here, because, like I said, the radio station, everybody up there, you never know, how that can
Exactly.
work out, stuff like that.
No, absolutely. I would love to, just for fun. Just for funsies.
Yeah,
Just to go kind of check it out and see what it looks, just be there. Why not?
yeah. To network with other people, it'd be pretty cool.
No, absolutely. No, but thank you, chat. Everybody that's in here, everybody that comes in later, everybody that has been watching this time or it follows up later, drop a comment, drop a like, go follow him. Please, please, please go follow him. Go check out his stuff. Check out his stuff. If you don't mess with it, then what are you doing? Like, what's wrong with you? I mean, honestly, like I don't think a single person here doesn't mess with what you do. Anyway, go follow him. Show him some love. Pay attention. Blow up anything he posts just for fun. All right. I'm going to have a good night. You have a good night.
All right, you too. All right, y'all.
Be safe, you guys. And I don't know how to end it on Restream, but I'm going to try. So it might just cut out. If it does, bye.
Bye, y'all.